All right, what's up, my brothers? We are in a Mclaren 570s. Ed, say hi.
Hey guys.
He was the guy that sold me the Audi R8 at FAF Mclaren, and you probably saw the 720S video if you're one of the car guys on the channel. And they were kind enough to bring out the 570S because when I drove the 720, Andrew said this thing pulls pretty much as hard as a 720. So McLaren's a good brand. These guys actually bring cars out to your house to let you test drive them when it's convenient for you. So just gonna let it roll. Kind of, you know, we're not doing automotive YouTube shit here. We're just kind of shooting the shit about cars. So dope interior for me to start out with, right?
Yeah. This is just basically like pretty much a basic interior. Obviously,
I would call this basic.
You would do. It's a lot of carbon fiber in here.
It's got start stop.
Start.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, it's got a. It's so stupid, but we have to do it. But yeah.
Like, is that disableable?
Yeah, I just disabled it for you. Yeah, and also if you put it in active mode, back to what I was saying earlier, if you put it in active mode, obviously it turns off all the nannies to save fuel. But yeah, the Sport Series, what they do is they kind of focus in fun more than track times and downforce and active aero and all that kind of jazz. So with this car, you're going to find that it's going to have a more of a linear torque band rather than the 720S and the 650S is what we call the more of an elastic torque band. So as soon as a turbo hits, it just pulls you and you're really sort of
caught right there.
Yeah. So now you're in normal mode, whereas the 720S, you start off in sport mode. You cannot go into normal mode. So if you want to go
like the active mode,
go to active mode. I'll put you in full manual. So now you can see that. Sport handling, sport powertrain.
Got it. Yeah. And this is a nice display too.
Yeah, exactly. It's really
good.
Nice. They've actually recently changed it in 17 to a full display, and before it was like 3 little displays.
So what is this car MSRP at? Because Andrew was telling me that the 720 was around like the mid 340s, 380 to get started. Yeah.
So the 570S starts at 225,000 Canadian. Okay. And then you have the GT at 236, and then the Spider that's coming out is 247.
What's the difference between the S and the GT?
The S and the GT, GT basically stands for Grand Tourer. It's not.
It's more comfort oriented.
It's much more comfortable, but contrary to what people think that it's a more aggressive version, it's not. It's 50% softer on suspension.
Spring rates and everything.
Spring rates. The steering wheel softer. It's got a glass roof. You have a rear hatch, a lot more sound insulation in the car as well. So,
okay, so it's more of like designed to be a daily.
It's designed to be a daily. It's what I like to describe as 911 turbo and GT3.
Okay.
This is a GT3, and the GT is more of a turbo.
What are they targeting the S at? Like, what is McLaren? There's a cop up there. See, people don't do that much anymore, where they flash their headlights, eh?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
When I was a kid, they used to do it all the time. Anyway.
Yeah.
So, what are they targeting the 570S at?
So the 570S, they're pretty much targeting the track users, like the guys that sort of want to put it on track, more of a sport car feel, whereas the touring is more for the guys that, you know, they don't really go on track. They're kind of just buying the car to sort of drive around, more of a daily use. It doesn't even come with carbon ceramic as a standard option on the GT, whereas the 570S does. So the S is definitely a better seller for us. I mean, obviously it's been on the market for a year longer than the other models. So they definitely make a little bit more S's than GTs and Spiders. So
my big question is, what do you know about the LT? Because Andrew dropped the LT. Yeah. They said they're making an LT version of those. Yeah. That's the one that I'd be interested in, because I know that they're going to be more desirable to hold their value. Yeah,
they're very, they will do an LT version for the Sport Series. We heard rumors it's going to be called the 600 LT. Okay. Obviously, just a little bit more power and then lighter, long tail. And the LT is basically something that they do towards the end of the model run. So, like if you look at a P11 chassis, which is the 12C 650 and 675 LT, they did that on the last year of the P11 chassis. This is a P13 chassis, so we're running into the 2018, so the third year. So you should be seeing an LT, you know, some sort of announcement towards probably the end of 2018. Okay. Yeah, it's going to be very limited. It's going to be a track version of this car, more power, lightweight. We're hoping to see like some sort of fixed wing in the back, just because it is a long tail starting price about a 360,000 US,
and they're going for 500,000 US now.
Depending on what you look at. Like, I mean, yeah, if you look at a Spider, they're in that low fours, like 480 US.
Yeah, okay.
You know, the coupes are a little bit cheaper. They're still in the fours. So if you do the conversion and everything, it's actually pretty much almost double the price as a 650S, right? So, you know, our Canadian market is obviously a little bit, I like to say, a little bit stronger than the US. We have less cars. We have, so the pricing for them, for us over here versus the US's are a little bit different. When it was new, they're actually cheaper in the US when they were new to us than in Canada because of the duties and everything. So I don't know what they're going to do with the Sport Series LT, if they're going to still sell in US or what kind of premium that you have to pay. But it's one of those things where McLaren is doing. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. The thing with the
these are not slow cars.
Oh no.
Like, this would blow the door off my R8.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, I always describe McLarens as, I don't always say that they're fast cars. Your R8's a fast car. Your M5 is a fast car.
Yeah.
My M3 is a fast car. Like, there are many cars that are fast, but this car can get to fast very quickly. So
and
I like
it'll keep going fast. Like,
exactly.
this will accelerate like this all the way up to top speed. Probably,
exactly.
right?
So I describe this car as a quick car because it's so light. You know, you're hauling, like, you know, on average, I'm just going to take a guess, you're probably 1,000 pounds lighter than my M3, or even almost 500 pounds lighter than your R8. So, you know, imagine that kind of weight difference. You can definitely feel that, not to mention the center of gravity being a lot lighter. Like, the tub that we're sitting in is 165 pounds.
Does this have a Sport Series exhaust, like the Sport exhaust?
This has got the Sport exhaust. On the new Spider that's coming out towards the end of the year, you have an optional MSO titanium exhaust.
Does this have the active suspension like the 720, like the hydraulic setup, or is it just springs and shocks?
No, so that's glad you brought that up. That's the biggest difference from
because it rides really good. So.
It does ride surprisingly very good, and that's because of the chassis, right? Because our chassis is so solid that, you know, we don't need to have very stiff suspensions.
Okay, so this is a little twisty section that I
that's nice.
got from the BMW test drives. The thing with the BMW guys, they don't know shit about the cars when you go at them. I actually know more about the M cars than they do.
Oh wow, that's beautiful.
Yeah. We got stability on still, right?
Yes.
Good.
Yes.
This is just kind of like a looser, like MDM on the M3s.
Exactly. You got that. Yeah. Even if you have it in track, it's just another version of that as well.
There's a little bit of turbo lag, though, eh?
It's a little bit of a turbo lag. Yeah. I mean, it's. That's fun.
I do that bit with my daughter. She loves it.
Yeah. That's it's a little bit of turbo lag. You almost have to, with every single kind of turbo engine, you always have to know how to drive a turbo engine.
It spools up fast. Like, it's not like, oh, it's annoying. But it's like, you know, you can feel a tiny bit of, like the M5 has way more lag than this.
Yeah, because the thing is with this, you gotta remember, this is like 3.8 liter V8. It's a tiny V8. You know, their V6 is the same size, right?
Yeah.
So it does spool up very quickly, and you just have to strategically go, okay, you know, I gotta be at this point to sort of have the most torque or turbo to kick in and stuff like that.
Yeah, but it comes on hard, like when you put your foot down.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a lot of car for the money. I know it sounds like a shitload of money to some people, but this is a lot of car for the money.
Oh yeah. And that's why, you know, Andrew was saying, like, hey, it's probably very similar to a 720. I mean, 720 is dramatically faster. Like, I mean, I want to say 720 is probably the fastest car that I've ever driven.
Definitely for me. Yeah.
The feel is just incredible. I haven't felt like that.
I think they've underrated it. It's got more power.
It's probably got more power than 720 for sure. But it makes you appreciate cars like this because you can jump in this and you can pretty much keep up with the 720S and still drive it, still, you know, enjoy it a little bit and not, you know, break the bank pretty much. Right? Like you're talking about
crap around here, so I'm just gonna turn it around.
Yeah, you're talking about $100,000 average being cheaper, right? So you can get in, you're still doing about 3 seconds, 0 to 60.
It's ferocious.
Yeah.
That was like 2 gears.
Yeah.
2 gears.
Yeah, that's one thing about these things. Just the performance is. Yeah, the way that I like to describe McLarens is like it really tests your balls. Like how fast do you want me to go? Because the car can handle it, right?
Yeah.
Like it's very difficult to touch the limit on these cars, even a Sport Series. I mean, for me at least, like I'm not like a crazy race car driver, right? But you know, it's a lot of car, even at the 570 level. Like it's a lot of car.
Are these cars on a 4-year production cycle, or is it
5 year? They're talking
okay.
about 5-year chassis production. So P11 is the 12C 650 and 675 LT. P12 is the P1. The P13 is this.
Yeah.
And the P14 is the 720, and the P15 is our next generation Ultimate Series. So a lot of people actually, you know, doesn't really know that, so they feel, oh, McLaren changes their model so soon. But a lot of people don't understand that 12C and 650 are actually the same car.
Yeah.
Right? They think this is a different car. They go, oh, you only ran 12C for 3 years. Now you're gonna do a new car right away.
It was just a facelift.
It was just a facelift. The rear end looks the same. The interior is exactly the same. But people don't think that, right? So. And you see how it handles. It doesn't tilt.
My M5 would have gone right off the road.
Exactly. It's just the weight distribution of it. It's just, you have to drive it to experience it, right?
Yeah. You okay if we hop on the highway? Just want to.
Yeah, for sure. Take your time.
Just do like a merge and see what that's like. We'll let over that out. Disability too, eh?
Yeah, that's what we get a lot from, like, you know, the guys are looking at comparing it to a Lambo and stuff. Pulls your head back.
Does it do that in all the gears, or is it just like in the first couple of gears?
I think the gearing ratio is geared for the first couple of gears to have maximum sort of torque, but like, you know, obviously when you're at high speed at 7 gear, you probably won't feel that kind of pull, but the ratio is definitely fixed for the first top gears to sort of give you maximum acceleration, right?
And I don't know if you know this, but do they like pull back on the boost in the first couple of gears just so you're not lighting up the tires?
I know for sure that they do that for the 675 LT.
Yeah.
Because that just completely, you know, there's too much power for too much torque for the first couple of the first 2 gears, right?
Yeah.
I'm not sure if they do this or not. I'm gonna guess that they're not, just because it's not nearly as much power as the 675 LT. But the transmission calibration on this car, the difference from the 650 to this is that the transmission calibration is derived from the LT. So shifting points on this is very, very quick, like the LT, it's very crisp. Whereas the 650s and 12C, you notice it's still very quick shifting, but it doesn't click in as well as the 570s and the LTs.
You mentioned the M3, so I want to talk about that for just 1 second while we got the camera running, because when I did the test drive in the R8, we're talking about M cars. I have the M5 obviously, and he tells me he has an M3 with a Dynon stroker motor.
Yeah.
And if you don't know what a Dynon stroker motor is, you can Google that shit. But it's is it a 4.6?
Yeah, they bore it and stroke it out to 4.6. Yeah, it's just basically.
Yeah, so it's a 4.6 out, 520 something horsepower.
527 horsepower, 410 foot-pounds of torque.
Nuts. It's nuts. Actually, I told you when I was there when I bought the R8, I was like, because we drove your car after.
Yeah.
Because I threw you the keys of the M5 too. I go, had I driven this car today and it was for sale, his M3, I would have probably bought that over the R8.
Yeah, you did
that badass. It's like so nice.
Yeah.
It's one of the nicest naturally aspirated V8s you can drive.
Yeah.
If you can get your hands on one.
Yeah, I'm truly in love with that car for sure. Give me a tour of the car, the options, you know.
special features that we should know about?
So like I said, everything is pretty much an option.
Yeah.
The color is Cobalt Violet, is a special paint. So that's the second highest paint job that you could do. And then the wheels is the super lightweight second level of wheels that you could do, and obviously the stealth finish.
Yeah.
The brakes, surprisingly, being in
These
black,
are carbon ceramics too, right?
Carbon ceramic
yeah.
brakes. Same brakes is on the 650, 675 LTs and
Yeah.
stuff like that. But what's the beauty of these cars is that it has all the carbon fiber exterior. So you have the intake, you have the side inserts, the mirror caps, and the front aero blades, what they call.
Yeah.
And as well as the back over here. It's got the full MSO air wing, as well as the rear bumper and the diffuser and carbon fiber.
Is that active? Does that move up and down?
It doesn't move up
okay.
and down, yeah.
And just to show you guys the back of the car, it's all open back over here. So in some of the other McLarens, you've got trim inside here, but with this carbon fiber trim and the sports exhaust, it looks like the back end of a P1 if you're sitting behind it, because it's all exposed engine, right?
Yeah. And the engine's so low to the ground that you could see, like, if you go a little bit lower even, you can see the transmission and everything. So yeah, it's pretty cool. Yeah.
Beauts. All right, well, thanks for a quick walk around.
Yeah, no problem.
Appreciate it, man.